Welcome to One on One, a Daily Item production featuring Susquehanna Valley newsmakers interviewed by Daily Item reporters. Today's guest is Shikellamy School Superintendent Dr. Jason Bendle, interviewed by Francis Scarcella.
Welcome to One on One. I'm Francis Scarcella, being joined with Shikellamy Superintendent Jason Bendle. We are actually doing this outside today at the Shikellamy High School Stadium. The big news of the day is fall sports. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that before we get into the reopening and everything else, what's your take on?
Well, thanks for jumping right into it, but thanks for having me on again. Always appreciate coming on and talking. There was an announcement by the governor today. People are questioning, is it a recommendation? Is it a mandate? I think that we're going to wait and see what comes, but he said that recommends no sports until January 21. We haven't done anything with that yet. I think we're going to wait and see what is that guidance? What is the governor actually saying, and what's PIAA's response?
So does that throw you through a loop? I mean, at the end of the day here, when you have, now there'll be kids coming in here to practice soon and getting, and I know football's right around the corner, so does that kind of throw you through a loop? Are you going to stop the process until you hear more? Or?
So that was just announced realistically about an hour ago. We have been following our safety protocols. We have been successful. We have not had any kinds of issues. But we're going to have to watch and see how this progresses. And then if we're mandated to shut down, we'll absolutely follow the rule. And we want to see what kind of information comes next.
Have you been contacted by any parents about fans coming in? Because that apparently was also mentioned that Penn State announced that there was no fans this year. So
yeah, PIAA came out and said that this week. I haven't personally been contacted by any fans or any parents, but we want to have sports. We want to have an opportunity for kids, but we also want to do things safely. Are we able to have fans? Are we able to have sports? Are we able to have band? Are we able to have cheerleaders? I think it's all up in the air, and I think local districts are looking for guidance from our state leaders and from PIAA.
With no fans, you think that takes away from the kids' experience here on the field as far as the Friday night lights and the whole 9 yards?
Well, I think it takes away from the parents' experience. Every parent wants to come out and see their kids play. Everybody wants to come out and see Shikellamy win. But sure, I think it takes away, but I also want whatever opportunities we can do through this health crisis. We want to be able to provide things for kids.
In your entire career in education and as being a superintendent, would you have ever imagined anything like this to happen?
So certainly can't imagine it. I think this is the toughest reopening and sports and all of this combined with this health crisis. I think this is the toughest thing that public schools have ever faced in my career.
And now going into that, you have a kind of a fluid reopening plan.
Yep.
So a couple weeks ago, the school board had okayed one, and now you have a second part coming up. What would be the changes to that now?
So because of how things change daily, weekly, we have just taken a stance that we're going to update that and approve that every month, just because we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we want to be able to adjust our plan to reduce risk the best that we can. So it's just a fluid document, so things will change over time, and I think that's a good step by the Shikellamy School Board.
And with that, we'll be right back with more with Shikellamy Superintendent Jason Bendle. Okay, welcome back to One on One. We're being joined with Shikellamy Superintendent Jason Bendle here at the Shikellamy football field. It's in good shape, it looks like, and it's ready to go. And but the reopening, everybody's talking about reopening, and teachers. Well, first let's backtrack a little bit. So you had met with various superintendents across the region throughout the last couple weeks. So you kind of spearheaded that with the IU, and basically people are following the Shikellamy way.
I don't know if that's the case. I think it was a team effort of all local superintendents. We had Geisinger at the table with us. We had Evangelical Hospital at the table with us. I think we were extremely fortunate to have two top-notch hospitals in the area that were willing to sit down and help us develop plans that made sense and reduce risk. But yeah, I think it was a team effort. We all worked together to try to come up with a plan, and I'm really happy with the plan that we developed. Moving on to the reopening, this last week we sent out letters to families, and we're really trying to provide options to meet families where they're at with their comfort level with this health crisis. So students can return under the safety protocols outlined in that plan in a traditional model with the safety protocols 5 days a week. We have an option for our virtual academy K-12 where kids can go to our cyber school with Shikellamy staff here. We have a hybrid option that is for K-5 only, but we do need 25 kids per grade level to be able to run that, because we would actually pull a teacher from a grade level and do that. If we were completely restructured or combined, that would be simple, but remember that we have 4 elementary schools, so we have to get those kids to one particular building for their 2 days in person, 3 days remote. So we're hopeful that we can provide that option. And then 6 through 12, we can't provide a hybrid just because of the multiple certifications that teachers need at the various grade levels or departments, but we will work with families to individualize a remote plan, and all they have to do is contact the building principal, and we'll work with families where they're at.
How about as far as cyber school itself? Are we seeing an increase at Shikellamy as far as that? Because a report just came out saying that cyber school is pretty much starting to get maxed out across the state. So, and explain how that hurts the district.
Yeah, so we have seen a slight uptick with students or families that are looking for a cyber or charter school option outside of the district. So how that works is tax dollars go to pay for that cyber or charter school. So every regular ed kid that leaves the district is right around $12,000 leaving the Shikellamy School District. Special ed, it's getting close to $30,000 for a child. So we currently have about 84 kids in outside cyber placements. That costs us somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 to $1.6 million. This health crisis, and I encourage families, like, hang in there, stay with us. We need you here at Shikellamy. We want to provide your kids the best opportunities they can. I think we can do it better than these outside cyber schools, but it really has a potential to bankrupt public ed.
So if that number were to double going into the fall of this year, what happens?
So if we had 100 to 200 families leave the district, that's $3 million going out the door of our district. And our finance is very, very stretched right now. COVID has made it extremely difficult as well. We've received about $1 million of COVID funds. We're probably going to spend anywhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 to $2 million to get our buildings ready to go.
Why is that the school district's problem? I think that's the question everybody asks. Why do the taxpayers of that district have to pay for that?
As far as you're referring to cyber schools, okay, that's what legislators have determined as school choice. I can't stop someone from going to an outside cyber school. What I would encourage families to do is contact us. We will show you our cyber program. We'll bring you in for tours. We'll do virtual tours. We will do everything that we can to show you that we can do it better.
And how about teachers and students on coming back? What have you heard? I'm sure you heard both good and bad, but what are the major concerns, and what are the...
Well, we sent 2 surveys out through the summer here to try to get input from parents and comfort level. Currently, we're taking enrollments as far as what option they're picking, and at this point, we only have about a third of our families back, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 80% of families are choosing that traditional model with the safety protocols. About 20% are choosing the virtual academy. So there's not a lot at this point that are looking at the hybrid option or the remote, but I think we got to be ready for anything. At any moment, I think that we could be more restricted. We could have to go district-wide hybrid. We might have to go district-wide remote, and we'll be ready for it. And I think that
so kids can't switch. They can't just come one day and then the next day go home. The next day come in, next day go home.
We're asking for a 9-week commitment from families. We're asking for that because we have to staff these programs appropriately. If I have 400 kids go in the virtual academy, I'm going to be shifting some teachers over. But if kids were going to go back and forth on a regular basis, I couldn't staff it properly. So we'll work with families, but we really need that 9-week commitment.
And what happens when the first week of school comes and you have 2 kids that end up testing positive?
So what we'll do is once we have any kind of information like that, and I think there's a difference between a positive test and symptoms. So a positive test, if we're notified of a positive test, certainly that child is not going to be in the building. We need to get a child out immediately, and we have protocols to do that. But my first call will be to Department of Health. My second call will be to Geisinger and use them in an advisory role because each of these situations will be different, and we'll lean on our healthcare experts to say this is what you should do in this scenario.
Could that close school potentially for days?
Oh, I think that we could be faced with start and stops throughout the year. I hope we're not.
I think that's the big question.
Yeah.
So you're already prepared or looking for that for maybe 3 days on, a couple days off.
I think we're trying to prepare for anything that's thrown at us this year. We want kids here as much as humanly possible, but we want to do this safely as well. But there could be days where we need to shut down one building and the rest of the district's open, or there may be times where we have to shut down a district for 48 hours or longer than that. I hope that's not the case, but we're going to do what we need to, and we're going to continue to provide kids education no matter what's thrown at us.
Are you hearing concerns from teachers on coming back?
So I think everybody's concerned. I don't think anybody. This isn't comfortable for anybody. But I think that our safety protocols. There's no plan that I can give a family or a district that says I can completely eliminate risk. Our plan lowers risk, and it has been built with the help of our local health experts, and I feel very good about it.
How about substitute teachers?
Well, that's been a problem for 7 to 10 years. That will continue to be a problem. What I would encourage families, and I've talked to legislators about this, as far as we need bodies in the classroom. We need more substitutes. Any family or any parent out there or any community member out there that would like to be a substitute teacher, if you have a 4-year degree, you can go through the guest teacher program at the IU and you can sub for us, and we'll take you 1 day a week, we'll take you 1 day a month. We need as many hands on deck as we can, and that goes for substitute nurses as well.
They'll go through the same protocol, so if a sub is in 1 day.
Correct.
And then so you'll have to test them every time before they come back? Or?
So we're not testing. We don't have any ability to actually do a COVID test, but we do. We're asking families, we're asking staff to do symptom screening. We're also trying to come up with another layer of protection here at school, where we can do symptom screening here at school upon arrival. But we're working on all that, and we continue to work with our healthcare experts to guide us in that.
So is it safe to say that every time you think you have something, that something else will either change or another possibility or scenario will come up?
This has been very difficult to plan for, but I think we've done a good job, and we will continue to make adjustments on a daily basis if need be, and make sure that what we're doing makes sense.
And the first day of school is
26th.
August 26th.
Yep.
So as of right now, everything's a go.
As of right now, everything's a go. There are things that could throw a wrench into that, but we'll see, and I'm hopeful that we can get here on August 26th. I think the positive thing in this area, we live in an area where cases are low. If I could pick 10 spots in Pennsylvania to live, this would be one of them, because our cases are low and manageable, and I feel good that we can get kids back to school.
As far as the state, have they been pretty good with the districts? When something's going to happen, do you hear about it there, or do you see it on the news?
So I think the state has been doing the best they can as far as providing school district guidance, but I would really encourage our state legislators, our governor, to give us a little bit more guidance. I think this needs to be a uniform front for school districts and not always leave it up to local control, because I think that we're in a health crisis. I can develop a plan. But does that plan make sense with healthcare experts? I think we're fortunate here. I said earlier that healthcare experts have worked with us. I'm talking to other superintendents from other areas, and I don't know if they've gotten that support from their local hospitals. So I would encourage our state to really give us more guidance on what the plan is to move forward with schools.
And the final question, I guess, not question, but what we're all going to wait for before this airs or after it airs is going to be the decision on whether sports will happen until January. So what's your take on it? What do you think? Have you been down to see any practice?
Absolutely. I've been down. I've seen kids. I've been at basketball practices. I've seen our football practices. I've seen our soccer practices. I think we're doing a great job. I said earlier, I think the cases are low locally. I think that we are doing this successfully. But I think it's a wait and see. I don't think I can predict where we're going to be tomorrow, where we're going to be next week, where we're going to be when the season starts. I'm hopeful that we can do this for kids, but we also have to do it safely.
Thank you.
Sure.
There you have it. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for watching One on One. Be sure to tune in again for another edition.